I really don't remember.
Yeah. Hello everyone, welcome to arrowcody. Please, if you enjoyed this video, please click the like below if you want more content like this in the future. And please share this video for more alien encounters and ghostly encounters and how they interact with the same virtual reality that we live today. So basically, we are going to learn a fundamental fact about the spirituality as well as the ghost reality and the UFO encounter reality. We are going to do a topic on why people encounter different varieties and aspects of ghostly encounters and what the difference is between UFO encounters and how they interact in the same virtual ways. So basically, hang on. Basically, what we're learning here is something fundamental but facts of why people encounter different things. Now, the fun fact about this is there's a lot of mysteries in this world, and not all of them are the same, and not all of them are equal out to be the same. Each person experiences things different in different varieties into a reality. So let's say you encounter a UFO. Does that make it real or does that make it fake? If you encounter an alien activity for yourself and you see it for yourself and you just experience a light years of a million different variety of cultures that believe in otherworldly beings, does that mean that you encountered a god or a demon? Or does it mean something more than just aspects of respecting somebody else's belief in their system of a controlled variety? So what I'm learning from reading topics about ghost and alien activity is that each individual expects that there is something between those two. Now, you could say that an alien is a demon. You can say an alien is a human being, as though like me and you, with supernatural power that comes from the gods. Or you can say, a variety of ghostly encounters is also a spiritual, magical way of looking through other people's eyes and culture differences to realize that not everything is what we think and not everything is sane. If everything made sense and everything had a connection, life would be totally boring because you know everything to all the answers and questions you have every day. Now, there's a lot of things in this world that's mystery, landscape of something out of this ordinary world. Now, let me get to this really interesting fact. A ghost can either be a presence of somebody that died in the past, or it can be a demon. But either way it goes, does that make it an alien from another worldly spiritual being wise, or does it come from something even God can't even pronounce names to give you an actual understanding of what it is? Now, aliens can either be ghosts, or they can be demons, or they can be a otherworldly being with supernatural powers, kind of like Superman, or kind of like Wonder Woman from another worldly outer being experience. Now, what I learned through my spiritual lessons and spiritual understanding, I learned that aliens are humans. I learned that they're a human in a different color, a different race, or a different variety of belief systems that come from different cultures of understanding their own virtual reality. So does that mean that there could be a possibility we live in a matrix-like world? Yes. Could there be a possibility that we're controlled by a variety of otherworldly beings that we can't see just yet because we're not dead on the other side of the consciousness of our livelihood of living and dead at the same time? What we learn through this life is like the edge of a knife. You can take the edge of the knife and switch the blade to the dull end, but when you look at stuff to a full perspective, you see that there's more to this life in this world than we think, or that we were brought up and grown up to know. Now, just because my family believes in Jesus and Christ and all this bull crap doesn't mean I got to go and follow, because I've learned through my experience and spiritual understanding that there's more than just a book written by men over and over again and always rewritten thousands of times before you. So what I'm trying to say is, just because you're raised a certain way doesn't mean you need to follow a certain way, because each person's value and culture differences is always a learning to grow and strive to perfect itself, to respect your self-well-being in a higher consciousness. Ghosts and spirits do exist. Those who don't believe are those who are usually the ones who's going to encounter it and then believe once they experience it. Those who do believe are those who are a little bit skeptic but don't want to have the experience because they have a fear factor of them. They're afraid to see the unknown. That's what's wrong with the world today. We fear what we don't understand. We fear what we can't see. We fear something, so we think it's value in our own understanding to follow its path, because that's the way we were raised, in fear. But if we look at the bigger picture and the bigger aspects of cultures, we realize that there's more to life than just a meaningful thrill or a action thrill. Life is something mysterious, and we all need to realize that each person's culture, each person's belief has always something to offer to the world. Doesn't mean we need to talk down about others. Doesn't mean that we need to tell them they're going to hell because of their differences. It means that we need to take what is there and put the pieces of puzzle together and rewrite those riddles that we've been trying to figure out for years on what's on the other end. Ghosts, spirits, demons, I'm not saying they do exist. I'm not saying they don't, but I do say that there is and has been proven fact through history and biblical times, as well as historic written literature on Egypt walls, to prove otherwise. Now, there has been proof of evidence that UFO encounters of alien extraordinary human being-like creatures have been here before us and after us, which means the God that we pinpoint in our mind could be the God of alien encounters that we had through our ancestors' history. So what I'm saying is, alien encounters could be a possibility that, that's who we think God is, because they have supernatural abilities that we can't comprehend because we haven't opened up our third eye or opened up our higher consciousness of environment, because we're too busy caught up in negative fields and negative behavior that is causing us to lose self-obedience. And what we don't realize is that when we're trapped in a controlled society, we fall from being a god ourselves. That's my perspective. And I respect everyone's belief, but each person in value has something bigger to offer than just a closed-minded flock of birds flying around the ocean trying to look for land and gets eaten by a shark because they find out later on there's no place to hide. So really, life is a mystery, and we need to accept it in order to grow from it and respect other people's beliefs. Because if we don't, who are you to say who's wrong and who's right if you ain't experienced it yourself? And how do you know something exists if you ain't never been there and ain't never seen it for yourself? If you ain't never experienced it, or if you ain't never starved yourself and had the suffering like others have had the suffering in order to find what they're looking for. In order to know truth, you got to go out there and find it. A book, a person ain't going to give you the truth. You got to go out there and get off your lazy couch potato chip ass and look for it yourself. And that's the cold-hearted truth. And that's reality. And you need to go out there and look for truth. Because truth don't come to you. You come to truth. You can sit and believe what your preacher tells you, believe what somebody tells you, but it doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it wrong, but it definitely doesn't have factors to prove what they're saying is true either. Because any bloody fool, as Bruce Lee would say, can pull the trigger and say it's right. But it takes a real man and woman to go out in style to know what is on the other end. Now, aliens do exist because there's a lot of proven historical evidence. And what we have and what we've seen as experience in time, that God or demons, or what we call God and demons or spirits or whatever, could be alien encounters with other worldly beings that have supernatural abilities but have opened their consciousness to become a higher, informative, fundamental, international super being. And they have all these special abilities because they open up a higher well-being. They kept their mind open. They kept their identities sealed from negative fields that could drag their empowerment of having the power of a God in order to have the connection with God. Why do I say this? Because I had the pretty much similar experience. I had experience with black magic, white magic. I had experience with death a couple of times. And I had experience with seeing what's on the other side because I've died, and I experienced with a lot of different varieties of different things, reading up history, reading up details, reading up historic facts, and separating it from myth and fiction and white lies, and finding out that everything we were taught growing up is a lie. It's a controlled variety of society that wants us to be controlled and that wants us to be brainwashed and follow everyone else in order to block our chakra, or as what others may call it, Kai, or energy empowerment of something more than just a blunt of ignorance or ego that gets in the way of our empowerment that we all have within ourselves. And if we don't understand that, then how could you understand what God is if you can't even open your mind to the possibility that you might actually be wrong for once? Accept defeat is acknowledging that that's real knowledge and wisdom that comes beyond handing out a paper and saying, I'm signing this paper so it's right because everyone else is following it, so it makes it right. Doesn't always mean it's true. It's a white lie. Half of what you read is white lies. You got to put the pieces and puzzles together, figure it out, and you'll find your truth, and you'll find your higher consciousness, and you'll find something more than a closed-minded flock of birds getting eaten by a shark because they can't find homeland because they're too damn busy being a dumbfounded bird. And exactly what I'm trying to say is a lot of people in today's society is like a flock of birds that cannot find the other end because they fear what they don't understand. And what you fear controls your life. And if you don't learn to be rid of the fear, you'll never grow. You'll never strive. You'll never perfect yourself. You'll always find yourself downfalled in a variety of white lies, myth, and things that you think is true because that's the way you were raised. Doesn't always mean it's right. Doesn't always mean it's wrong. There's just no evidence and only fear that controls you. So, what I found out is that we shouldn't fear nothing. We all have an empowerment from within. We all have an understanding of true knowledge by opening up and comprehending something better than our self-imaging ego. A lot of people have a big ego. A lot of people think, well, my ego says this and my ego says that because that's the way I was raised or that's the way I was brought up in. So I'm going to believe it because they say it's right. When you're controlled in a system like that, you'll find a lot of misery people. A lot of misery people. Misery people. Because they don't know the truth and they don't know what's on the other end. So you're going to find a lot of people with anxiety, depression, a lot of problems with developing concentration and focus because they were brought up in fear. And if you fear, then why are you living? You might as well go jump off a bridge and go commit suicide if you're that damn scared and letting your ego get the best of you because that's the way you were raised. Don't be so naive. Find what makes you you and benefits you in order to find your happiness. You can't find happiness by depending on others. If you depend on others to find your happiness for you, they're bound to steal your life away from you. You got to go out there and seek it. You got to go out there and knock for it. You got to go out there and walk it. You got to go out there and live it. You got to go out there and find it. And that's reality. And that's a harsh reality, but that's a cold reality to realize. Actualization of realization is being able and not being reliable. A lot of things in this world is a mystery. But if we can learn to get rid of proclaimed fixed ideas, we can grow. We can strive. We can come together united. But the more we depend on somebody else and the more we let our ego get the best of us, the more murders, the more negative fields and energy that will block our chakra in order to have the empowerment that the government doesn't want us to have, but he does. And who is the government? Ask yourself, could it be an alien? Could it be some kind of demon? Because the government could be anything. You just don't know that the government has been here forever. So who in the hell's the government? Ask yourself, who the fuck is the government? Is he a god? Because honestly, if you think about it, a government has been living forever. It's like he never dies, never perishes. So who is the government? Think about it like that. There's a lot of mysteries in this world you don't know about. There's a lot of detailed ideas to prove in fact that these alien encounters could be godlike beings among us and living today. You just can't see it because you're too busy locked up in your ego, or you're too busy locked up and believing in a white lie because somebody told you. So you are brought up to believe something that ain't true because that's the way you were raised. There's a lot of questions, a lot of details that I can go on even deeper, but I think I made it very clear. The only way you can find truth and the only way you can find what is on the other side if you experience it or find it for yourself. You can't find it depending on others. That's reality. So there you go. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all found some interest and understanding of ghosts and UFOs and aliens. And I hope y'all realize that truth don't come to you. You got to go to truth. You got to find it for yourself. Now, have a nice day. Stay safe. Subscribe to this channel if you enjoy. Share this video if you enjoy. And invite other people to my channel. And please look up my Patreon, arrowcody, and subscribe to that if you enjoy, and promote paid promotion to show support. And I really appreciate y'all's time and listening. I hope this didn't offend nobody. I hope this didn't turn nobody off. I just want to get the truth out there because everybody's ego seems to be the biggest thing in a lot of people's life right now. So stay safe. I hope y'all learned something, and I hope this is beneficial to help you out through your journeys. Bye.